Hey everybody, how's it going? Cliffhanger here at Replay Guitar Exchange. Be sure to check out our website, replayguitar.com, to see a full list of all of our inventory. Today, we're going to be talking about guitar bridges, all the bridges that we carry here at Replay Guitar Exchange, because I do get some newbies or some intermediate players that ask us, hey, can you go over some of the differences in bridges? So hopefully this video helps you out. This is by no means all of the bridges that have ever been manufactured in the world. We don't have all of those here, but I do have a bunch of different styles. So I kind of just want to show off some of those for you in this video today. And hopefully that answers any questions that you might have. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. I really appreciate that. That really helps out the store here a lot. Thank you so much. And be sure to stick around through the whole video to see all the bridges that we have here at the shop. Let's get started. All right, starting out with something very near and dear to our hearts. This is a Fender Telecaster. Everybody should own a Fender Telecaster. And this one is called the Ashtray style bridge with a 3-saddle bridge. So this is an interesting piece because there are 3 pieces here, 3 saddles here. Each saddle holds 2 strings. There are 2 screws on top of each saddle that can adjust the height up or down one way or the other. And there is a screw in the back of the Ashtray bridge that will move the saddle forward or backwards for intonation purposes. The reason that they call this an Ashtray bridge is because it has a lip here that will go up. And sometimes on the old ones, you will have a cover that goes over that and covers the whole thing. And that was called, back in the day, the Ashtray style bridge. Very cool. They're still doing that design today. The 3-saddle bridge is still very prominent. We see it all the time. Let me flip it over for you so you can see that the strings go right through the body, right through the bridge here, and over each saddle, and then it's tuned up. Very cool. Very nice. Moving on. Number 2, we still have a Telecaster here, but this is a 6-saddle Telecaster here. So the strings will go through the back of the body and into each one of these saddles, and each string has its own individual saddle this time. So it's a little bit different from the 3-saddle. This one gets its own saddle for each string. And then we have 2 screws on top of each saddle, which will raise or lower the string, and a screw in the back, which will help it move forward or backwards for intonation purposes. Same as before on the other one, but this time individual saddles for each string. So you might see that a lot as well. Wanted to show that off. Moving on to a Fender Stratocaster, this is a floating style, vintage style bridge, and you will see here that there are 6 screws that are holding this bridge onto the body, and this bridge does float up or down. That's because you can put a trim arm in this, and this guitar does come with a trim arm. I just don't have it in there now, and you can use that for accent notes or fluttering notes on a Stratocaster. This bridge can also be set flush to the body, so it would be all the way down and it cannot move, but this one is set just kind of right in the middle, just so we can see. It's 6 saddles, so each string still gets its own saddle, can move up or down like in the previous models, and forward or backwards with the screws in the back here. And as you can see here, it's a little bit harder to see. There's a cover for the back of the guitar here that covers the bridge and the springs in there, but a block here where the strings will go through and up and through the bridge here, and adjustments can be made from there. Tunes up. That is the vintage style with 6 screws. Oh me, oh my, this is another Stratocaster, but this time we have 2 screws holding in the bridge instead of 6. One here on the left, one here on the right. Still an individual saddle for each string, so you have 6 of them here, up and down screws on each saddle. There's 2, and then a screw that moves it forward or backwards. So just like the other 2, this time there's only 2 screws holding it in here, and it's still a floating bridge. So you'll still have a trim arm. It still goes through the back here with a block, but this time just 2. Now, some people ask me what's better, the 2-point screw system or the 6-point screw system, and I don't have an answer for you. I say you should play both of them and see what you like better, although I don't find there to be too much difference. They can both get the job done excellent. You know, they both do a fantastic job of doing it, but it's just something that I wanted to show off because it is different. Okay, so now we're talking about a fixed bridge on a modern style Fender. Definitely a little bit different. So this guitar is not floating. The bridge on this guitar is not floating. It is flush to the body. There is no trim arm, but it still goes through the back of the guitar. So you still have that classic thing going on with the Fender, but this time it goes through an individual saddle, so 6 saddles, and then you have the screws to raise or lower it back and forth for intonation. It's just not floating. It's set in its ways, not gonna move. Very cool. This is more of a modern style thing. The last Fender that we're going over today is a Mustang or an offset style guitar body, and this has the Mustang bridge, which looks like this. So we have a screw that will move forward and backwards for intonation purposes in this roller style that helps the string to stay in tune. Now this whole piece is held in by 2 screws that hold onto this dynamic vibrato system, and the string wraps around into this bar on the back of the guitar where a trim arm can be put in and used for those accent notes, similar to like a Fender Stratocaster, but this one is the Mustang's version, and it is definitely unique and weird. Now, you don't see that on very many other guitars, but nonetheless, we do carry it here at the shop, so there, I wanted you to have a taste of that as well. That is the last of the Fenders. Now we're gonna move on to the Gibsons. Okay, now let's talk about something very near and dear to my heart, the Gibson guitars. This style bridge here is called an ABR1. Now, the original ABR1s were manufactured in 1957 to 1974, and there are 2 different styles of the ABR1. The main differences being with the post sizes into the guitar here, but just for reference of this video, this is a newer style Gibson Les Paul Standard. This is called the ABR1. It's a one whole piece here that goes across that is held on to 2 different posts that are drilled into the guitar. These posts have wheels on them that allow the bridge to move up or down for heights. And then on the bridge itself, there are 6 screws that move this metal piece that holds the string back and forth for intonation purposes. Then it goes into the stop bar into the back of the guitar, and it is simple as that. Very cool design, kind of similar to Fenders in the sense that the screws are on the bridge itself that move back and forth, but the posts are held down into the guitar just like that. And that, my friends, is the ABR1. Very classic, been around forever. Very cool. This is a lightning bar bridge. This is held on by these 2 posts that go into the guitar, and you can see these 2 screws here that can move back and forth that help to set the intonation of the guitar. And the reason it's called a lightning bar is because, look, it looks like a lightning bar right here across the bridge itself. It's got the Harry Potter treatment. Instead of having the lightning bolt on the forehead, it's got it right here on the bridge, and each one is set correspondingly to what string it is so that it plays in tune with itself. Very cool looking. I like that. Lightning bar bridge is such a classic. Okay, now we're into modern bridges. This is one of the newest things on the market. This is called the Evertune. It's very cool for people who don't like to change strings, or people that just kind of want to set it and forget it. This bridge is absolutely bananas because the Evertune keeps it in tune. It's got a series of compensating springs in the bridge, so when you pull a note, the spring will pull with the note, helping it to stay in tune, and it is set and locked there. I saw some guys talking about setting this once right before a tour, doing the whole tour, and having to tune the guitar like 1 time, or being able to hold the guitar from the strings, which I don't recommend, and I'm not going to do that in this video, but you could hold it and the strings will stay in tune. This is called the Evertune, and it's pretty cool. Once you set it, the strings are going to stay in tune. We don't have too many of these in the store, but hey, I got one here, and you will typically see them on ESP LTD, but there's probably some other companies that carry them as well, and I did want to show them off because it's pretty wild, pretty new to the market. This is the last guitar that I'm showing off in this video. Also, it's the most complicated. That's why I saved it for last, because it's a little bit hard to explain this guitar. I don't typically recommend the Floyd Rose for beginners, but if you want to be able to do the Van Halen stuff and the Dimebag Darrell kind of stuff with the dive bombs and the pew kind of sounds, well, this is the bridge for you. You see, this bridge is floating here. You can see it's recessed down in here, and it is all locked into place. That's because when you're doing stuff like the dive bombs and the crazy whammy bar stuff, you're taking a lot of tension off of the string and then putting it back to where it was. Well, if it wasn't locked here, that string would be completely out of tune, and it would be super hard to play the guitar after that because, well, it would be out of tune and it would not sound good at all. That is why they lock it into place, and they do that up here at the nut. You can see these 3 screws holding in the strings here, and they're held in by these Allen screws. That is keeping the guitar from going out of tune up here. And then it is also locked into place because these have little blocks in each one of the saddles here that are held into place by these screws, and they keep it from, going out of tune like crazy, and you're able to still play. If your guitar happened to go out of tune, well, they do have these screws on top, which are fine tuning screws. So if it's just slightly flat or just slightly sharp, well, then you can adjust that. However, when you run out of room on these screws, you have to unscrew everything, take it all apart, and reset it right in the middle so that you have room to compensate back and forth where you need to be. So as you can see, it is a complicated setup, but very, very fun. The Floyd Rose is really cool. It's wicked awesome. I do think that everybody should have one, but you might need to understand the basics of guitar before you just jump into one, because setup of them is a bit more complicated. So I just wanted to show that here because, yeah, we carry a lot of Floyd Rose, and if you're a shredder and you like to do that, Van Halen stuff, well, then look no further. You guys, I really appreciate you watching. I really hope this helps you a lot. Every time I do one of these videos, I always learn a little bit myself. So thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Cliffhanger. This is Riff with Cliff, and we're talking bridges today at Replay Guitar Exchange. Be sure to check out our website, and if you have questions, please give us a call, 813-254-8880. I'll see you guys the next time I see you.